Welcome to She Sells Radio. I am trying something very different today, and you probably hear it in the audio quality. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm actually recording this while I'm out driving, which, first of all, I know it's a no-no. But here's what I have found recently is I am so much more inspired when I'm just out, I love my home. I've got a beautiful home, beautiful office, but just when I'm out and about, kind of moving energy, and I'm finding that I actually get my best work done right now while I'm just driving. Who knew? So with that, trying something totally different. And if you listen to, I think it was my most recent episode, just talked about really giving yourself permission to know the season that you're in and honor what feels good to you in the season. And right now, this feels really good to record as I drive. So we're going to try this, and hopefully it works. And I can promise you that the content will be good, even if the audio isn't super fancy mic. But so here's the deal. And here's what I wanted to talk about today is ending codependency with your clients. And this was actually inspired by a conversation that was happening in my 50K Club Mastermind, where at a high level, a woman had a client get upset that she had bought at a higher rate than some of the other people because she had raised her prices before the woman bought. And it inspired so much in me. First and foremost, if you are doing a good job at what you do, if you are servicing people well and you are continuing to expand, it is normal, it is expected that your rates will increase. And if anyone doesn't get that, and if anyone has an issue with that, they are not your client, right? So it's I bought a dress a couple weeks ago. At the time I record this, we're doing our Sedona retreat next week. I bought a dress a couple weeks ago that's beautiful for the cocktail reception. And when I bought it, it was full price. And I really I was good. I feel good about doing this. It was a stretchy dress investment, I guess, as far as dresses go. But I chose in my full consciousness to purchase this dress. And then was back on the website, I don't know, a couple days ago, and I saw that they discounted it $100. I mean, there was a moment of it would have been nice to get it for that. But I'm not going to make the manufacturer wrong for the price change on their dress, right? It's I chose in my full power to buy it at the rate that I did, and somebody else will get it for a different rate. That's fine, right? And so that's maybe another story for another day. But I just want to say, if you come across clients who have unreasonable demands, who are getting triggered by you just literally running your business in a way that makes sense and is aligned, and again, it's not weird to raise your rates. It is normal and expected to raise your rates. We're about to raise rates again in our programs because I know the value women are getting, and it's aligned with where we're at as a company and who I've become. If someone has an issue with that, they are just not your client, right? They get to not be your client, and that's okay. But so with that, right, anytime we have a client be dissatisfied or be triggered by something or be unhappy, and it's there are times when we get to take ownership, right? So absolutely. Have we made mistakes in our company? Have I made mistakes? 100%. Have things, not happened that I thought were going to happen or happened that I didn't? Yes. And it's not common, but every single time, we take ownership and we go above and beyond to try to make things, not just make them right, but have the client be thrilled, right? Leaving that experience with the client being thrilled. So I'm not saying that I'm perfect or my company's perfect in any means. And there are times when we just have to own it. If we screw up, mess up, and the client's upset, right? We own it, we fix it, and then we move on. But beyond that, there can also be a lot of different elements of codependency that aren't needed in the client relationship that can trip us up. So whether it's, a client being triggered by something that you did that was nothing like a mess up or a screw up, or it's just like literally you either increasing your rates or speaking your truth or, I don't know, launching something different, like you doing you and the client is upset and triggered. That is an opportunity where we can find ourselves internally triggered in that, right? And so that's kind of the codependency I'm speaking to. And or when a client leaves and it's like they've completed their relationship with you and it's time for them to move on. That can also trigger some codependency depending on who you are, what your conditioning is around that, what your beliefs are about money, etc. So that's really what I wanted to speak to today. And then also noticing, like, are you setting poor boundaries with your clients because you are trying to overcompensate? And so this is where, like, when I look at my own client journey and business journey, and as I record this, I've been an entrepreneur since 2015. So what is that? 8 years? Yeah, 8 years now. But the She Sells brand itself has been like kind of a 2-year journey. It was incubating in me for many years beyond that. But like we fully launched it about 2 years ago. And when I look at my own journey, I've always made the most money, had the best results, received the best clients, been the most in flow when there has not been an element of needing to shift, rearrange boundaries, who I am, how I show up for somebody else or for a client. And so what I wanted to speak to today, and again, I'm driving right now. I don't have a script. I don't have bullet points. I am just talking off the cuff as I go. What I wanted to speak about today is starting to clean up some of that energetic relationship so that you can be in your full power to work with dream clients in a way that feels really good to you and not feel like you've got to shift or become somebody else or make yourself wrong for choosing to do certain things in your business that make sense for you because someone might be triggered. And so I think the bottom line here is the energy and the mindset has to be one of clients are not source. And so let's speak to when a client leaves in particular, because I think that piece is really important. I had a mentor say this to me several years ago now, I think, and it was really, really powerful, which is we do not own our clients. And I think that is so true. And sometimes, especially if you're in, a service-based business or you're a coach, you're a consultant, I was looking at who a lot of our clients are a couple of weeks ago, and it was like quite a few, like even more than I realized and expected, were coaches and consultants, which I love because that's what I do too. And we've got clients across so many different industries, financial services, different types of entrepreneurship, real estate, mortgage, sales professionals. I mean, you name it. Like we've got a really diverse client base, but a lot of them were coaches and consultants. And it can be a very personal type of relationship, right? Because you're working hands-on with someone, you love them, you are, you're building kind of like that deep, intimate relationship. And so when somebody decides to go, if we don't have clear energy and clear boundaries intact, we can make it mean something about us that it really doesn't. But when we have the mindset that we don't own clients and that our only job is to show up, deliver our very best. And what I mean by our best is not like you have to overcompensate or over deliver. Literally, you are showing up, you're serving from the heart, you're doing your best for you, like you're staying in your power and your energy. And somebody decides that it's time to complete, like it's not about you, right? And I've had the most amazing mentors and relationships with service providers where it was just kind of time to complete. And then I've also had relationships where I wanted to keep going longer because I knew that there was still like more for me to expand into. And I have that with my clients too. Like some of them literally do the agreement length and that's it, and they're good and that's beautiful. And then, many will continue to stay and come back and do longer term engagements because they're still growing inside of that container. But it's not up to me and it's not up to you, how long somebody decides to stay with us, and what that looks like. And when it's time to complete, it's like that knowledge and that understanding that there is a better scenario for them and for you on the other side. And so our energy is going to be most powerful with that when it's one of gratitude for the time that you were with them and completion, right? And then just, to me, it's like I'm always available for people to circle back. And sometimes that's what happens too. Like sometimes people just need space and they need to go, work on some things and then come back. And then sometimes again, people just want to like stay in the container and kind of keep that magic going. So it's all about where somebody else is, but it's not about you. So when we understand that clients are not source, and that for you, like when you do the inner work and you're in your power and you are clear on what your musts are in terms of money and financial support every month, how much you make, etc. If a client leaves, that money is going to come in another way. So with that, it's like, it doesn't matter. You can have the knowing and kind of the peace that whenever that client chooses to move on, that money is coming to you in a different form that's going to be even better than what it was before for both of you. And this is the same for prospects too, right? Like if you're talking to a prospective client and let's say it seems like a hell yes, and it's like, oh my, you guys are completely aligned, you think it's 100% certain, and then for whatever reason, they choose to go in a different direction. We don't ever want to be in the energy of needing someone to work with us in order to feel safe, complete, whole, like we're going to be okay. And so again, it comes back to how critically important it is. Critically important for you to be doing the inner work every single day to align with the level of money that you desire to be bringing in, to be so proud of yourself and so in love with yourself and so in love with life that it's almost like, if this client comes in or if this opportunity comes in, it's the cherry on top, but it's not something that you need in order to feel whole or complete. And that's this concept that I've really started calling like selling from wholeness, which is inspired by a lot of the inner work that I've done. And for so many years, especially when I was in my 20s and in corporate, I was so seeking validation outside of me and so seeking to prove myself and to prove that I was worthy because of some client signing up. I remember I was being courted by this organization. This was years ago, where they were like, we want you to come in and be the whale hunter on the team. And even just that language now, like, number one, I don't like anything about hunting. Number two, that's part of my problem with how sales is taught, that hunting analogies are even used, because if you think about it, you're killing someone else to get what you need, right? So it's like just the whole thing I would love to shift in the industry, but that's another story for another day. The point of that, if I can even remember, is that like so much of my validation and so much of my self-worth was caught up in being quote unquote the whale hunter or the best or having the highest closing rate. And I had no energetic boundaries. I had extremely low self-worth. I had a lot of anxiety too at the same time, because like if a sale didn't go through or if a prospect fell out, I would make it mean something about me personally. And it never was, but it's going to mean whatever we make it mean to us, right? And so that, there were just so many messed up moments energetically with me with clients, with all of it, because I didn't have any boundaries and I was so codependent on clients to make me feel good and make me feel whole. And then, okay, I was like, where did that come from? So selling from wholeness is really this concept that I've been playing with and really implementing, is like coming from that place of you are so whole already. You are so in love with life, with yourself. You're so lit up about what you're doing. You are proud of yourself. You're proud of the work you're doing. You are in alignment. You're doing the inner work every day, right? Multiple times a day, probably. If need be, I do it multiple times a day, to stay in your power, that it's like, it doesn't matter if a certain client says yes or no, because you already feel so whole. And the ironic part is when we do that, and when we approach our sales and our business and our clients from a place of, I am so lit up about my life and I love myself so much and I love what I've created so much. If you're an entrepreneur, or let's say you're in sales and it's like, I just love what I'm representing and I love the company so much, etc., then you're gonna naturally draw people in. And if someone isn't the right fit, or they're not aligned and they say no, you're not going to have messed up energy about it. It's like, cool, right? You leave the door open for down the road. And, or, this is something I was telling this woman in our mastermind today. It was like, this person is not your client. Like, anyone who has an issue with you increasing your rates, and they go and they kind of make a stink about it, like, you don't want them as a client. And that's a good thing. It's not something bad about them. Like, they're on their own journey, but you don't want that type of energy in your clients. So good. Like, that means there's someone better coming for you, right? And your only job is to stay available for that, and to have the knowing, like the deep inner knowing, that you always win, you always succeed, you always get what you want, you're always supported, you're always taken care of, and it has nothing to do with who is or is not your client. So it's always that energy and that mindset of this or something better for the greatest good of all, right? It's kind of like that's the energy we want to continually be in, this or something better for the greatest good of all. So that's the mindset. And so just noticing, like, are you struggling with boundaries with your clients? Are you getting triggered when someone leaves? Are you getting triggered when you think they're going to sign up and they don't? Are you going into fear or lack mode when any of those things happen? And if so, it's a really beautiful opportunity to kind of come back into yourself and come back into your power and say, oh, okay, I was getting it messed up, right? I was making it mean that this client is source, or this client is the only way I'm going to be successful, or there's never going to be another client if this person completes and leaves. And we don't want that to be the belief system that's running the show for you. We want the belief system to be, and this is something you can just play with and practice and kind of try on and keep playing with, is like, again, you're always supported. You always make the amount of money that you want to make. You get to work with the most ideal clients coming from the most ideal scenarios. Your clients find you. I've been teaching the women in my mastermind too, just to play with, like, your money chases you, your clients chase you, like really being in that energy. And it's amazing the shifts they have and how literally they have clients showing up, like saying those words, like, I just need to be in your energy. I'll do what it takes, because of how they're showing up, and they're not codependent on clients. So that is that. And so again, I just wanted to share that because I think there's such a need, especially for any of us in service-based businesses or entrepreneurs, where you do pour your heart and your soul in. I get that. But you also want to make sure that you're not pouring so much heart and soul in where you're busting boundaries of yours, and then you're feeling resentful or feeling triggered if someone leaves or doesn't respect that boundary, etc. So So that's that. So you got to let me know. Did you like my car podcast? I'm now driving where I don't actually even know where I am. So I'm going to have to turn around because I actually do have a meeting soon. But this is kind of fun to just flow. So let me know if you like this. And then I'll also just add, if you like kind of the vibe of this, and if you're looking for support with a really high level group of women who are going for big things in their careers and in their world, would love to have you check out and connect with me about, we've got a couple different really cool groups of women. One is the 10K Club. That's for women who are looking to break through their first 6 figures. That includes group coaching with me. It currently includes a private call. It may not always include that, but currently it does. It's got a ton of amazing curriculum that comes with it that you can watch and self-study. So that's ElyseArcher.com/10K Club. And then if you're looking for a high-level mastermind, you're already at the 6-figure mark and you're looking to scale to $500,000 or more, my 50K Club Mastermind is a really phenomenal group of women. ElyseArcher.com/50K Club. You can go check it out there, and that includes group calls with me. We've got a group chat where you can receive coaching from me and input from the other women in between calls. I give you access to some also just really amazing other entrepreneurs and leaders who are some of the best in their class, in their specific space, and they come on and they do guest mentoring. Both the programs, I should mention, also include event tickets, retreat tickets as well. So ElyseArcher.com/50K Club, if you want to go check that out. The rates for both of those programs are going to be increasing in the next couple weeks. So it's a good time to go check it out now. So I think that's it. Again, let me know how you liked the driving podcast, and this may be how we roll for a little bit here. So we shall see.